Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with a gaming twist. I'm Clifton. Cheers and happy Thursday to you all. I almost said with an 80s twist. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to start saying as my official tagline. I've been going between gaming to 80s. It just really depends on what I'm in the mood for. So thank you all for tuning in to whether you're watching the live stream or the replay. Good to see you guys here. We have a fun new whiskey today that I've not ever tried before. So it's going to be a first impressions live stream, as well as a giveaway, because I'm going to be giving away a set of this exact same whiskey that I am drinking tonight. So if you guys have been here before, you know the way we do giveaways here is every $5 super chat gets you one entry into the Wheel of Whiskey, which we'll be spinning at the end of tonight's stream. So if you want to get a chance to get some of those samples, get those super chats in. Again, for as little as $5, you can get a chance to win some of these whiskeys. So I'm very excited. Hopefully you guys are too. I'm back on StreamYard because I couldn't figure out how to do the Wheel of Whiskey in a last minute thing on another platform. So we're back on StreamYard. Hopefully the quality looks okay. I see it's having a little bit of internet issues. It could be because I'm on a VPN. So let me know if everything looks and sounds okay on your end. I see it looks like it could be struggling just a little bit. If so, I have some things I can change around to see if it works. I got everything so set up perfectly to do the stream through Streamlabs that now it's like, oh, you're back on StreamYard. Well, we're going to screw you over. Also, lighting's not great. They just trimmed the trees outside our house, and it is very... color will change, just a warning. But yeah, tonight we are doing Glengoyne, which is a distillery that I've never heard of. First of all, let's be real. But it's a distillery which is actually pretty unique in the world of Scotch whiskey. I'm gone. Am I gone? Someone said I'm looking fine, and someone said I'm gone. So could it be me? He back. What has happened? Oh wait, you know what? It's because I just disconnected from my VPN. I was trying to see if that would help things. Okay, cool. Well, we're off the VPN now. Theoretically, we're better now. The VPN, I think, was giving me some issues before. So we are... Why is it starting to connect? Stop it. Stop. Okay. No VPN. Not for this. I'll save that VPN for another time. All right, we should be good now. Sorry. I think by me trying to open the VPN to check to see if it was connected, it actually started connecting. So we're back. He good. I want to say hello to some folks here in the chat who are watching us live. I see Tony Bag of Donuts is here, referencing Perry's chat from earlier tonight. Doug from Taste and Sensibility is here as well. Chuck D, I think might be the first time seeing you here in the chat. Welcome. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Feel free to say hello during the stream. Good to see someone new. Michael's here. Good evening, all you wonderful whiskey people. Good evening to you. That was me being late. Zopher's here. What's up, Alfonso? Good to see you. Whiskey Pear is here. What's up, Aaron? Donner Pass Whiskey. I have a love-hate thing with Glengoyne. They make beautiful whiskey, but chill filter and bottle at 43%. Interesting. Okay. Like I said, this is going to be a first impression for me, so I have no preconceived notions about this at all, which is always fun. I like to do a stream like that every now and then. Tony's at 69%. Well, hopefully he can stay at 69% for our after party hangout after, because why not? Doug says he has had a few Glengoynes a few years back. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that was partially my fault. Now I can find you and steal all your whiskey. Well, there's easier ways to find me than to track my IP address. Is all I gotta say. All right. Well, yeah. So Glengoyne. So if you saw the title of this video, you know that this whiskey is different because it's a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, but they actually do their aging in the Lowlands. Now, that could be a little bit of a gimmick because I looked them up and their distillery is right on the line of the Highlands and Lowlands. So their stills are in the Highlands, and then there's the line that divides them. And then their rick houses are in the Lowlands. So it's really just more of a semantics kind of thing, right? But I still think it's cool. I love unique things about whiskey, even though this is kind of, like I said, could be seen as a bit of a gimmick. It's definitely something I've never seen before. So That's kind of like similar to like in America. Like, I mean, okay, here's what I think they think they're like. They're like, oh, it's like Kentucky whiskey, but aged in like Las Vegas. But actually, they're more like, oh, it's like Los Angeles whiskey aged in San Diego. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting here too. But it should still be fun. I'm excited to try it. I've heard good things about this brand, and they're pretty decent bottles. So I was looking at pricing. I saw this gift set. I'll show it to you guys. It's called the Time Capsule Glengoyne set. So it's 3 different 50 milliliter bottles of each of these. And I found it at Total Wine. So I was like, okay, is this just like another no-name Total Wine brand? But I found out this distillery's been in business since 1833. So they've been around for a while. They're legit distillery. So I'm like, okay, there's like actually going to be some substance to this stream. So we have the 12-year release, the 18-year release, and then their special edition, the Legacy Series Chapter 2. So we're going to start with the 12, work our way up, do a bit of like what they call the time capsule, work our way through time, and see what we think of this whiskey. But like I said at the top of the stream, we're going to do a giveaway. So we're going to give away a second sample set. This one right here is unopened. Let me rotate the bottle so it looks a little prettier for you guys. Yeah. Second sample set unopened is going to one lucky super chatter tonight. Like I said, every $5 is an entry. If only one of you sends $5, then you automatically win. So trust me, it's happened before. But yeah, so it should be fun. But let's go and get our first whiskey in the glass. Let me know what you guys are drinking tonight. Would love to know what is in your glass while I pour me some Glengoyne 12-year-old. So this one is a 12-year-old single malt whiskey. We saw the comment earlier. Man, this is the tiniest writing ever. 43% ABV. Now, I do know they focus on sherry casks. So they do a lot of sherry cask aging. Now, based on color, it's probably not like a first fill sherry cask. It's probably more of like a reused barrel. But I do love a good sherry influence on a Scotch. Highland Scotches, I've kind of been hit or miss with. Some I've absolutely loved. Others I've just kind of felt were a little too grain forward, a little too cereal note for me. That's not my favorite note on a whiskey. But I've usually avoided that with Scotches that have been aged in a sherry cask. So I'm hoping that maybe some of that comes through with this distillery. It says a perfect balance of rich intensity and citrus freshness, toffee, apples, ginger, shortbread, and a hint of spice. Rounded off with a smooth oak finish. Well, those are tasting notes. I don't normally read those. I didn't expect it to be tasting notes, but we're still going for it anyways. First super chat and first entry into the Wheel of Whiskey tonight comes Tony. Well, Tony, you are the only entrant at this point, so you have a 100% chance of winning, unless someone else sends a super chat tonight. But thank you so much, Tony. It does help out the channel. You guys know I do it all for fun, but I appreciate sharing with you guys what I can. So, like I said, I saw there was a couple of these on the shelf. I grabbed one to make sure to be able to share with you guys. Emily's here. She said she's eating dinner, so slow. No worries. Glad you are listening in. Michael is sipping some Glenmorangie port cask. Ooh, that sounds really good. I'm not the biggest Glenmorangie fan, but I am a port cask fan, so I feel like it would balance it out that I would like it because it's the port cask. That sounds really good. Doug is sipping some Merlot before I switch to Scotch. Nice, good choice. I had a glass of wine yesterday. It was a Syrah. I had a coupon for like 20% off Total Wine, and I was like, let me get something different from the style that I like, but a different brand. So I actually picked up a Syrah from, I'm trying to think what region it was from, somewhere different than I never had before. It was California, but it was Santa Barbara. So it was a very, very local Syrah. Was about $40, but with the discount, it was very, very nice. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to save that bottle name for later. All right, well, let's go ahead and go to this Glengoyne 12-year. Like I said, they are a distillery. They've been around since 1833. I had some facts pulled up here earlier, but when I opened my Wheel of Whiskey, I accidentally closed it out. Let's see what else they had. Let's see. They are north of Glasgow, Scotland. Like I said, 1833. They use a slow distillation process, which is important because they do say their tagline is unhurried since 1833. So they actually considered this as part of building up the esters in the process because they do a slow distillation. They are unpeated. So they are an unpeated Scotch whiskey. Like I said, they do age in sherry casks, and they apparently are very sustainability focused as a distillery. So They're committed to sustainability using a wetlands facility for waste management and supporting the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust and Plan B BEE charities. So that's really cool to see. They do have a full distillery experience. You can go visit them. When I was looking it up, it was like trying to sell me a tour. I'm like, I'd love to, but like I'm nowhere near there. So they do offer distillery tours as well. Michael said, I bought my son a Glengoyne 21 a few years back on his 21st birthday. And I have one on my shelf. Glengoyne and Glenfarclas are usually the two most reasonable when it comes to higher ages. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I never actually, I hadn't heard of it, but that's so cool to hear that you bought it as a special bottle. Yeah, pricing wise, so this 12-year, why do I keep closing my tabs, guys? Like, I'm looking these up and then I'm like, oh, let me quickly look something else up and I lose it. So the Glengoyne 12 in my area, I know it varies depending on where you are, is $60. So it's a $60 bottle for the 750 milliliter of the 12-year. So very fair price for a 12-year single malt. Glengoyne, more like Glengoyne in my glass. I like what you did there, Tony. I like it. All right. So yeah, we're going to talk about pricing on each of these as we go up in age. But for now, let's go ahead and give a nose to the 12-year. Honestly, even though it's only 43% ABV, there's like quite a bit of like nose. I was going to say esters, but that's like what they talk about, right? I don't want to like feel like they're right with their marketing, but for a 43% whiskey, that is coming off way more on the nose than I thought it would. So maybe they are onto something with that slow distillation process. All these are fresh cracks. They are sample bottles, but yeah, that is like jumping out of the glass. I would almost guess that's at like 100 proof if I was guessing based on nose alone. So thankfully, this isn't Matt Madness. We'll see how I do in that. But yeah, it's really kind of jumping out of the glass there. And at 43%, that's really exciting to see. It is a little more in the cereal grain kind of note that I said before is not typically my flavor profile. I know so many people are huge fans of it. For me, it's got to have a little bit something extra to it. I do get a hint of that sherry though on the nose alone, which makes me think that there's a good chance that that's going to kind of help complement that grain note and kind of come out even better. So that's my hopes here with this, at least on the nose. Jeffrey Wax here in the chat. What's up, Jeffrey? Good to see you, my friend. Michael WMD with a super chat. He had to one up Tony. I love single malt, be it Scotch, Irish, and American, or other international. Well, Michael, Tony no longer has a 100% chance of winning, actually. If I could do percentages in my head really well, I would, but I can't. So you are now entered into the Wheel of Whiskey. We're going to spin that in about 25-ish minutes. So you guys have plenty of time to get some super chats in. Don't make it's to support the channel, seriously. All right. On the nose, yeah, it's a little bit of a very, very malty cereal. I mean, it's sweet, but it's almost sweet in like what's the closest thing I can call this to? It's almost, this is such a weirdly specific thing. I'm thinking of a cereal, and I think it's like an American cereal. It's like a round ball. It's like a cylinder, like a fully round. And it's not like a honey flavor, but it's got a bit of like is there a fruity ball, like cylinder whiskey with like a bunch of little ones? I can't remember if they're multicolored or not, or if they're just like, cereal color, like yellow or whatever. But I'm getting a very specific malty note on the nose that reminds me of that cereal. Someone's gonna say it, but it's almost like a rice cereal, maybe like a rice, not candy, but like a rice ball. Now someone's gonna know it, of course. Zopher with the super chat. Zopher, you are in for 2 entries of this sample set. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you so much. And then, of course, Doug is taking his shot as well. Doug, appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys. I'm just typing in your first names. So you're going to have to help me sort this later. I just, it's easier since I used to have a bot that would do this, but it stopped working and then I never took the time to fix it. So, but you are all entered as well. How am I supposed to win if you all can't? Is it Trix, Michael? Hold on, Trix here. Do they have like a Trix version that's not multicolored? Maybe it is Trix. Wait, hold on. I found it. You know why? Wait, am I just realizing something? General Mills has a cereal called Kix, Kix. That is exactly what I'm thinking of. It's those same round balls from, like, well, I guess Trix isn't a round ball. Trix is like the fruit shapes. Okay, it's Kix. Kix is exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's like a I don't know if it's corn or rice or whatever, but it's like a just like a very American cereal. That's what this smells like on the nose. Kix is not fruity. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was fruity or not, but that's exactly what I'm thinking of. This does smell like Kix cereal. Yeah, not bad. It has like a hint of fruit, but it's like okay. I'm gonna get very specific here. Yeah, no, I'm not saying this smells like fruit flavor, but what I will say, it's like you took a bowl of Kix cereal and you put in some like dehydrated strawberries, kind of like Special K cereal, and you kind of like stirred up the milk, kind of got some of that strawberry flavor, not sweet, that's that dried strawberry flavor on some of your Kix. That's exactly what this smells like. That is so specific, but like I feel like if I had a bowl of that next to me, I would 100% agree with myself. So Kix is puffed corn. Okay, that's what I was thinking of rice or corn. There we go. That makes sense. Yeah, this definitely has Kix on the nose, but let's see if it has a kick on the palate. I was gonna say let's see if it kicks on the palate, but I want to make sure the joke came through. So color wise, it also looks very much like a cereal. All right, let's go. Cheers. Hmm. Yep. Very similar to the nose, even sweeter than the nose. I mean, that is American cereal. Like not in a bad way. It's like sometimes when I say like I get a cereal note on a single malt scotch, especially at Highland. Highland's the one I'm most finicky about. Highland scotches I've had a love hate relationship with. This one is cereal, but it doesn't have like the sour, like the youngness. I think a lot of times when I have like a Highland Scotch, some youth comes across on the nose and palate. This doesn't have that. It does have a corn sweetness, but it's not like sour or like mashy or yeasty or anything like that. It's just like a well balanced, rounded, little bit malty cereal. I like it. Going to the grocery store right now, I'm definitely buying Kicks. Jeffrey said that all cereal will soon look like Kicks. Right? They got bought out, right? I don't remember the full story, but like Kellogg got bought out by like a Swedish company or something that also makes cereal. But like they're a lot stricter. Like the EU is a lot stricter with their what goes into cereal, which I mean, I'm not opposed to. I mean, I will admit, as much as I enjoyed a good American breakfast cereal as a kid, that stuff is not good for you. Even though we were taught like, oh, it's not bad for you, but yeah, no, totally. So as long as they're still like tastes good enough for kids to eat, I'm on board. I would love if they could make them a little healthier. I'll be the first to say that. But yeah, I do. My guilty pleasure cereal. I don't weirdly enough, I don't eat cereal as an adult. In college, I would have some like frost or not frost. I would have like God, I sound so old. I would have Raisin Bran, but with like the clusters in it, like the yogurt clusters in it, and like it also had like what was it like raisins or something? Oh, duh, Raisin Bran. It was like Raisin Bran, but it was like with the clusters of yogurt as well. That was my favorite. I did like Special K with the strawberries. I just was never a big like sweet cereal fan in my adult life. Now as a kid, I think my two favorite cereals as a kid were Apple Jacks and Fruit Loops. I mean, very similar, but also slightly different. Those are my all-time jam. Also, Honey Nut Cheerios. I used to eat Honey Nut Cheerios like not in like a bowl. I would just eat them straight out of the bag, just like dry. Those were my favorites. So, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate American kid cereal, but yeah, they're not the healthiest. I will say. No artificial colors can use beet juice from Shrut Farm to color them. Special K fruit and yogurt. Yes, okay. Tony knows what's up. Wait, Shrut Farms. I need to do some more research. Um, yeah, I mean, trust me, I don't like artificial colors. I don't think anyone does. It's just like we've gotten so used to them. It's like, eh, like I mean, I don't think there's necessarily a lot of harm into a lot of them. Some of them are, but if we could replace all artificial colors with natural colors, 100% here to support that. As long as it doesn't double the price, that's all I feel. If we can bring the price down and get the artificial out, I'm a fan. Anyways, this isn't a political conversation about cereal. This is a whiskey review. I'm just trying to make it relatable. All right, let's go for another sip of the 12 year, and then we'll move on to the older releases. Yeah, it's got a bit of like a, hmm, I want to say like, it's not a chocolate note. It's a little bit more like a white chocolate. That's like more specifically like a whiter chocolate, like a little bit of a sweet, maybe a tad vanilla, but that cereal is the most prominent thing. It's like a frosted cereal. Like it has a little bit of that like artificial vanilla kind of flavor to it. Yeah, not bad at all. Being this the first release, I think their budget entry in the lineup, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Because if we're talking 12 year, we're jumping to 18, and then we're going to a special release. So it's only going to go up from here. Is how I feel about it. So I'm gonna keep that in the glass. I'm gonna come back to it. Maybe do a little bit of a comparison. But I will move on to the 18 year because I'm excited to see what this does with some extra age on it. Zover said part of a nutritious breakfast, the part being 1% and the rest needing to be healthy. That's true. That's American marketing. I feel like there was a lot of that misleading marketing, like in the. I mean, I was gonna say in like the 80s and 90s, but honestly, I think it's been since like the 50s. I think like the second half of the 20th century, the marketing was very very little sus, I will say. All right, let's move on to the 18-year expression of Glengoyne. That's this one. It is a red label, a little bit of a copper color on the logo there. Also coming in at 43%, so same ABV. Let's see what this says. It says full-bodied, round, and rich with notes of blank, blank, blank. So we don't like reading tasting notes. We like tasting whiskey, not reading whiskey. Is my motto. I don't know if I want to say motto, but it's more of like how I do things here. Hey kids, try Marlboro. I know, like, was it Flintstones? Flintstones did Marlboro. There's a lot of smoking in like family television. Okay, there we go. I was like struggling here. All right. Don't want to. Sometimes these like these aluminum caps are really difficult to get off. If you twist them slightly the wrong way, they'll be difficult. Well, I'll say color-wise, this is a bit darker. Now, I do not know if they are it does natural color. Okay, that's actually a great point I was going to say. Because, I mean, someone did mention earlier in the chat that they do a chill filtering process, which they are lower proof. I mean, again, I'm not saying I get it. I'd rather them not. But it's more common with some lower proof releases. Although at this price point, I'm a little surprised by that. You would think if you're buying this whiskey, you probably know enough about like chill filtering and like know that like it's not going to hurt you if it's a little cloudy. Let's go ahead and move on to the 18 year. Should I find a pricing for that? I'm not seeing it available locally. Let me see if I can find it at a different store, just so I can. Okay, 18 year. That's not right. That says $200. That can't be the same release. Why am I struggling? Okay, hold on. Let me try a different website. Is it really $230? Jeez, it is. Well, that's a big surprise and jump in price. We're going from the $60 12 year to a $200 18 year. Buy online. I'm on their official website right now. Buy this in the US. There's a button that says buy this in the US and it just leads me to an infinite loop. That's crazy to me. Okay, I found one website listing it for 100. You know what? Maybe I'm crazy, but maybe this is discontinued or something, and that's why it's going for so high. Some websites are selling it so much higher. 100 sounds fair because we're going for $60 to 12 year to $100 for 18 year. That makes total sense to me. But I'm seeing this bottle going for over $200 on some websites. So I don't know the story behind that. Maybe I should have done a little bit more research in that. Maybe even more of a reason to super chat and get access to some samples because this could be a discontinued bottle. I don't know. You don't quote me on that, but whoever's candy cigarettes. Oh yes, I remember in Boy Scouts we would always get them and like have them on the bus and pretend we thought we were so clever out the windows of the bus smoking them. Yeah. Bubblegum cigars. I'm not familiar with that though. I think that might have been before my time. I don't remember that at all. I definitely remember the candy cigarettes. All right, well, let's go ahead and nose the Glengoyne 18 year, which may be a very, very limited release these days. Not too far off from the nose of the 12. Much more body though. I mean, I'm gonna go back to the 12 real quick. The 12 is bright, cereal, a little bit of like fruit, like I said, a little bit of that like strawberry dust to it. The 18 year is like it takes that and condenses it down and like muddles those strawberries and like what do you call it? Macerates it like with the sugar. It's not sweeter though, but it's definitely more of a condensed, dried fruit note than the 12. Aha! There you go, Aaron, with the assist. The 18 year was discontinued in 2024. You were spot on. Well, that explains why I'm seeing it go for like $200. Okay, well, if you want to get your hands on your very own discontinued whiskey sample, leave a $5 super chat and you're entered into the Wheel of Whiskey giveaway, where you can get your very own 50 milliliters of a discontinued, I was going to say bourbon, single malt Scotch. Which again, this one's still unique because again, it's a Highland Scotch aged in Lowlands, so it has a cool aspect to it as well. There are few 18-year single malt Scotches under 150. That's fair, but like when I'm seeing it from a price range from 100 to like 230, I knew something had to be up to with it other than just like it being a good product. So yeah, it got discontinued last year. I do like the nose. It does feel like a step above the 12-year release. Let's see why it was discontinued or see why we are going to start rioting for a return of the 18-year. Cheers. Oh, yeah. Where that first one was kicks, this is tricks because it's fruity. And it's fruity in a very like dense, like I said, kind of like I said on the nose, it's like a dense, really, I don't want to say dried fruit because like dried fruit is like doesn't quite make sense. It's more of like a really, you know what it tastes like? So within the past couple of years, I had heard that date shakes were a thing, especially on the road trip between like Vegas and here. Like dates were like super popular back in like a long time. Back in like a long time ago, but then seriously, getting date shakes were like a big road trip thing in years past. And I finally had one for the first time probably about a year or two ago. This is reminding me of that. It's kind of like a prune slash like plum. How else would you describe a date? It's like a sweeter, a little bit of a nuttier. Like it's not as sweet as like a raisin, but it's like a more of like a nutty kind of raisin thing. Flavor wise, this is coming across a bit datey. Yeah, I mean it's the same proof as the 12-year, so it's not going to be more like intense proof wise. But flavor wise, it is a bit more refined. I think with it being the jump from 60 to 100, I think it's fair. It's almost pushing it, but like Doug said, it's like at the 18-year age statement, it's kind of hard to find things under 150. So it's like I don't feel like it's a bad price. I just feel like when this was available, I could see why people would just say like, well, I'll just get the 12-year because I don't want to say they're close, but the 12-year is basically this, just a little less, more well-rounded, a little less refined, and a little bit less of that fruitiness. But maybe there was a reason behind it. I don't know. Again, I didn't do that much research. Like I said, it looks like it used to go for around 100, which I think was fair, a bit pricey, but fair. But when I'm seeing it for 230 on secondary, I do not recommend getting this for $230. I think there are much better single malt scotches you can get for $230. But I'm a fan of it for the retail price on it. Yeah. I think for my money, I think I'd rather have the 12-year because they're not that different. They're very, very close. And I really like the 12-year. 12-year just comes across a little bit sweeter, a little less of the fruit, and more of the corn note. But still very, very good. All right, we got one more whiskey to do, and we also got 10 more minutes to the Wheel of Whiskey before we give a giveaway sample of all three of these whiskeys. We, of course, are going to try the newest in the collection. They've since released another one of these versions. This is Glengoyne Legacy Series. Now, this is the Legacy Chapter 2, A Lifelong Held Ambition. Bottled and released. Oh, I'm not going to be able to make that out. Bottled and released. I can actually see it better here. What does that say? Okay, Eagle Eyes, help me out. Oh, it says 2020. I'm dumb. Okay, but like, am I crazy that it looks like there's something written underneath? Like, if you didn't see the top of the 2020, like those look like words. I don't know those words. I'm sorry. Bottled and released in 2020. So this is a 5-year-old release. God, I felt so dumb. Now this one comes in at 48%. So we're going up in proof here. Let's see what we can find about Legacy Chapter 2 on their website. Glengoyne Legacy Chapter 2. Because I imagine each of these will probably have a bit of a unique story. Here we go. Legacy Series Chapter 2. It's the second bottling in their Legacy series, and it follows up on Chapter 1. It says Chapter 1 and 1869. The grammar's not grammaring here on this website, but let me do a bit of let me proofread this first. They use the slow distillation process to help make it the most unhurried in Scotland. Then they introduce the all-important sherry cask in which they mature their spirits. 134 years later, from 1869, the next chapter in our story unfolded when Peter Russ. Okay, they're being metaphorical. They're not just saying that. What this reads like is like they released Chapter 1 in 1869, and they're just now releasing Chapter 2 in 2020. But what's happening is they're saying like that was their Chapter 1 of their distillery was when they opened it. Now this is Chapter 2. They're going into a new chapter in their history. It says the next chapter unfolded when Peter Russell and his family fulfilled their dream of having their very own distillery and became custodians of Glengoyne. Shielding us from the changing winds of fashion, the Russells have helped us stick resolutely to Cartwright's original vision. We call it the Glengoyne Way. Chapter 2 in our Legacy series marries spirits matured in 2 distinct cask types, first fill bourbon and refill sherry barrels. Every drop embodies Peter's combination of forward thinking and respect for tradition. So this one says it's no longer available for purchase, but I do see it still available at my local Total Wine for about $90. So we're kind of in between price points here on the 12 and the 18. Glen Scotia 18 may be the best deal in 18s. Yeah, we're just talking about prices there too. The only problem when you start talking Glen Scotia is that their Victoriana beats them all. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with Glen Scotia, but I trust y'all's judgment. Did I get some Glengoyne tea dram? Someone said teapot, sorry. Teapot is so expensive. Well, obviously I did not because I bought a little sample set and I got what was available to me, which I'm giving one away in about 7 minutes. So if anyone wants to get in, $5 super chat gets you an entry on the Wheel of Whiskey. We're going to spin it at 7:45, so in about 6 minutes. But let's go and get this poured. The Chapter 2 pour. Now that I know a little bit more about it, it's basically non-age dated, but it does say they use first fill bourbon casks combined with their sherry cask, which is what their traditional process is. So I'm hoping it's a little bit special. We'll see. This one's still, if you can find it, it's still available. Color-wise, it's kind of in between the two as well. I mean, price is in between, age we don't know, but color-wise, it's pretty in between the 12-year and the 18-year. I'm sure it's hard to see on camera, but let's nose it. Let's see what's here. Bourbon drop in the chat. Speyburns are excellent budget pours. Well, first of all, seeing you in the chat, welcome. Good to see you. I'm definitely not that familiar with that category, but absolutely would be curious to try more of them. It's been a minute since I've kind of really explored new scotches, and that's what I love. I mean, I know some of you guys don't like watching the Scotch content on the channel because, I mean, my channel is called Bourbon Bites. Bourbon Bites. By the way, you can get your shirts at bourbonbites.com if you're curious. But that looked like I was doing something really inappropriate there. I was pointing at the logo, although it's in a very convenient location. Anyways, let's move on. Nose of this one is very interesting. Still, we're in the same realm of like the 70 percentile of this smells the same as the 12 and the 18. But I will say there's a bit of an earthiness to this, like a little bit of like a mossy forest floor kind of note. And a bit of a dryness too that shows up here. And I think that's because they're combining that first fill bourbon with those sherry casks. Bourbon brings out so much oak in a Scotch, especially a Highland Scotch. And I will say, like, as a bourbon fan, Highland Scotches aged in bourbon casks aren't my favorite, typically. You know, people always tell me, like, the first Scotch you should try is Glenfiddich 14, which was a bourbon cask. I actually didn't like it that much. And no shame to Glenfiddich. It's just for me, it's like I don't want a Scotch to imitate a bourbon. I want a Scotch to stand up on its own and not try to replicate flavors that I already appreciate and love in other whiskeys, especially American whiskeys. So I was immediately turned off by Highland Scotches, particularly aged in bourbon casks. But I will say it is a pretty common process. It's kind of, I would see it less of an entryway to someone who's a bourbon drinker to get into Scotch and more of just a way to kind of mellow out these single malt Scotch, kind of bring more of those oak characteristics to it. Because when you're using several refill barrels, you're not getting that quality to it. So when you introduce a first fill bourbon barrel, you're bringing out some notes that I don't think you would get otherwise. So that's my thoughts on the nose, but it's time to give it a taste. Cheers. Ooh, that little bump in proof helps. We're going from 43% to 48% in this release. And it's just as fruity as the 18 year. Sorry, I spit a little bit. But it's a sweeter fruit. It's a little bit of that the vanilla is much more amplified, which makes sense with it being a first fill bourbon cask. But it kind of weirdly works super well with those sherry casks. I mean, I know it doesn't sound that weird, but for me as someone that doesn't typically like a bourbon cask in a Scotch, I'm a bit surprised by this. Yeah, it's creamy, sweet. Still cereal, but the cereal's kind of calmed down a bit. It's more of the malt flavor. A little bit more of like a malt. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I was talking about malt. When I was talking about like a date shake, usually that uses it's a malted milkshake. So that even more amplifies why I thought that kind of tastes like a date shake. These are very, very malty whiskeys. And if you like that flavor, you're going to love them. If you don't like that flavor, maybe try it before you buy it or get a gift set like this one. I do love malt. I love a good malty, I don't know how to describe it, like a malted milkshake flavor. I mean, that's the only way to put it. It's like more of a very specific flavor. And it's coming through on all three of these whiskeys. And I do enjoy it. More so than I enjoy like a basic sour cereal note. But what is a date shake? Oh, Fred, you may have missed also. Hi, Fred. I was saying it's a very popular drink available at a lot of roadside stands between Las Vegas and California. It was really popular in the 50s and 60s. I had my first one probably a year or two ago, and it was like a malted milkshake. It's very similar to to me, it's kind of like a cross between a plum and a prune, but it has a very malty. Well, it doesn't have the malty flavor. The milkshake has the malty flavor, but it has a nutty quality to it. So it's like a nutty little raisiny, malty kind of flavor. If you like those flavors combined, consider getting a date shake. Fred, I mean, you're on the road a lot, so you probably can find it available in some random ass locations. I swear. Bourbon casks are the most available in the world, which makes total sense, right? Because bourbon is the only spirit, at least that I'm aware of, that can only use a barrel once. They can only use a first fill new charred oak barrel. So at least for the initial aging. So totally makes sense. It's just, to me, as someone that loves both bourbon and Scotch, I want my bourbon to taste like bourbon and I want my Scotch to taste like Scotch. Now, Scotch can be peated or unpeated. I'm still going to appreciate it. It can be heavily sherried. It can be heavily port finished. It could be Calvados finished. It could be all this stuff, but it should still taste like a Scotch, and I don't want it to taste like a bourbon. That's my personal opinion on it. But I am curious to hear what you guys think, because to me, it's not my favorite flavor profile, but I do enjoy it. All right, 2 more minutes, and we're going to spin the wheel of whiskey. Someone's going to get a sample set of all 3 of these bourbons that we just, or bourbon, I've been talking about bourbon. All 3 of these whiskeys that we tried. Every $5 is 1 entry on the wheel of whiskey. We're going to put on the screen. We're going to shuffle it. We're going to do a wheel spin. So if you want to get in on that, you guys have about, let's say 2 minutes. 2 more minutes to enter, and then we're going to spin the wheel of whiskey. I'm going to share my favorite. For the price, this one being at $90, the 12 being at $60. If you can find the Legacy series for $30 more, I do recommend it. 1, that bump in proof really does bring out a lot more flavor. 2, I'm getting more fruitiness. And if you do like a fruitier whiskey, even though I think that it's more dominant with those vanilla sweetness notes from the bourbon casks, I think this one, I know it's not age dated, but I would would guess that this one's somewhere between 12 and 18 years old, because the 18-year-old was, to me, was very, very fruity, but not very sweet. This one is fruity and sweet. The 12 wasn't fruity at all, a little bit sweet. So hopefully that's helpful. Tony says, curious that nobody uses rye barrels. There's like a secondary grain or a secondary barrel finish or initial finish. I don't think I've ever seen any whiskeys that have used the rye as the initial barrel. I have seen some rye finished products. I've seen some rye finished rums actually too as well. But I've never seen a rye aged Scotch. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe I'm just stupid and I keep thinking that they're using bourbon casks from America, but they could also be using rye casks. I mean, they just say they use American oak, but that could also be a rye whiskey that was aged in American oak. I don't know. Again, outside of my knowledge bank here. But if you want to learn more about that, make sure to subscribe and come back, because I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I'm always exploring different whiskeys. So if you did enjoy the show tonight, make sure to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. By the way, even if you don't plan on coming back, hit the button. If you enjoyed tonight's stream, it does help out the channel. If you're on your TV, just press the down button and swipe over, then hit the thumbs up, and there's a subscribe over there as well. I say that because I watch on my TV as well. So I enjoyed trying something new, but first of all, we got to do a Wheel of Whiskey spin, and someone's going to win these samples. So let me do a couple shuffles. Then I will share my screen so you guys can see who is going to win my second sample set. All right. So we got every entry here so far. We're going to cut off the entries now, unless someone's like super last minute and it comes in right now. We're going to cut it off. Thank you all so much. This does help out the channel so much, even though I know this is just a fun part of it. Someone is going to win some really cool samples. So with that, it's time for the Wheel of Whiskey. I know, sorry. Let's see. Cohen says, did you get the new Star Hill Farm Bourbon from Megan? I did not. I got the new 2025 the wood finishing series, but did not get the Star Hill Bourbon. I haven't seen it yet. All right, let's go ahead and someone said congratulations, Michael. We're not there yet. We're about to spin it. All right, let's see who's going to win these samples. We'll spin the Wheel of Whiskey. There we go. Alfonso, cheers to you, my friend. Congratulations. This sample set is for you. I will either hold on to it until we can meet up, or I will send it to you. Your preference, just let me know. Congratulations, my friend. I will make sure to hold this safely for you or send it your way very, very soon. So thank you all so much for watching, whether you're watching live or the replay. This was fun. I actually wasn't sure what I was going to feel about this bourbon, or this, I keep saying bourbon, what I was going to feel about this Scotch being a Highland aged in Lowland regions, but that sherry really made me appreciate it a bit more than I thought I would, especially with those malty qualities reminding me of that cereal grain. I mean, I'm a fan. I will gladly buy both the bottle of the 12-year at $60, the Chapter 2 of the Legacy series at $90. I think both are great buys if you see them on the shelves. The 18-year, $100, I would say yes. More than that, it depends. If you know you like the flavor profile, then consider getting it. If you're just buying it to blind buy it, don't just buy it because it's discontinued. There's other discontinued whiskeys that I think might be better bang for your buck. But if you see it at retail, I think all these are a great buy. And what a fun flight. Thank you all for entertaining me and letting me try something new. We're going to go back to bourbon very, very soon on the channel, but always fun to try new things. If you do not know, I have a podcast now. I relaunched my podcast. This is season 2 of the Bourbon Bites podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find me, but you can also go to bourbonbites.com. You'll see a link to the podcast there. You'll also see a link to our Discord server, which is our great whiskey-loving community of friends and family. There's also a link to the Bite Club, which is what I call my membership program. For people for as little as $2 a month, you can support the channel either through bourbonbites.com or Patreon, wherever you choose to support, or you can just save it for the super chats here and get a chance at winning something. I don't care, but the support does mean a lot to me so much. So, cheers. I will see you guys next Thursday. Make sure to listen to the podcast episode. I just reviewed Louisiana Senator Bourbon. I keep wanting to say Louisville or Lexington. It's Louisiana Senator Bourbon. Really, really impressive product. Go check it out. Only 20 minutes, so it's not going to take up your whole day. But until then, I'll see you guys next week. This has been Bourbon Bites whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. Cheers, and I'll see you guys on Thursday of next week. All right, bye.